And Shane said, I'm at the bar.
And then Shane said, I'm ordering a drink at the bar. But he never said he's not coming on.
What? Is he being serious?
He's at like a dinner or something.
What bar? The guy never leaves the house.
It's a PTO dinner is what it was.
Oh, the paid time off?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that was.
He said it's a PTO dinner, but he's at a bar.
Yeah. Something for the school, but there's a bar? What school is this?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 5 Idiots Talking Toys. It's Sunday night, and it's a regular episode tonight. We're going to have a topic for you tonight. We're going to be talking about, hopefully, something interesting and newsworthy and all that kind of good stuff. So, before we get started, please smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, comment, say anything. We want your comments. And please support us at patreon.com/5idiotstalkingtoys. Well, let's bring the guys in now. And it looks like there's probably just three of us. There's Brandon.
Hi.
Hello. And here's Charlie Beansacks is sacked out.
He's asleep at the wheel.
Sleep at the wheel. So tonight we have a pretty interesting topic. First of all, how is everybody doing? Been good?
Fantastic.
I'm great. Shane's not here.
Shane's not here.
Good mood.
Smooth sailing. Chris is still, he is under the weather. Under his sheets, under a comforter, under his pillow, under his hoodie. So he's under everything.
If he's under the weather and the weather is cold, that means that he's under it. Isn't he over it? Isn't he over the weather?
Maybe. I don't know.
Why do they say that?
I don't know. I'm a bit under the weather. But Chris called in sick today. He has 137-degree fever.
145.6.
He
145.
He actually called in sick though, but Shane just
Shane mailed it. Shane mailed it in. Chris was actually, said yesterday or today he was like, "I'm sick," so kind of a game time decision. Shane's like, "I'm going to a parent teacher conference and I'm mailing it in."
Yeah, pretty much. But so it's just the three of us tonight, and we're going to try to learn a little bit about what is going on with Diamond Distributing Company. They have filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is basically restructuring, right?
Yeah.
Chapter 11?
It's a nice way in saying, hey, we don't have any money. We're going to use what we can to try to get out of this and get free money.
Yeah. So they have a lot of holdings that they're going to be selling, right? They have a lot of companies that they own. Some that collectors of toys are very familiar with. Diamond Select Toys was one of their big companies that they had. Diamond Select used to do all the DC stuff until Todd McFarlane. I don't know if McFarlane got it from a restructured settlement that they had. They've restructured a couple of times.
Who? Diamond?
Yeah. From my understanding, they were like during COVID, they stopped distributing altogether. And that's when I think this whole thing just kind of started. But Marvel and DC, I think, were the first ones to leave Diamond Distributors. Now, Diamond Distributors, they're mainly known as a comic book distributor. I mean, I remember them from back when I was a kid. I used to go to the comic book shop all the time. Cliff's Comics, rest in peace, Cliff. Cliff's Comics. And I'd always say, hey, is the new issue whatever out yet? And he's died. He did.
I mean, I'm sad that he died. I'm kind of laughing that, like, You brought up like some like little rinky dink like comic like
Yeah.
no one knows about.
No. It's not rinky
Cliff
dink.
Comics.
We're talking
Cliff
about
Comics.
Cliff Clavin here from Cheers.
That's the
Cliff
place that I
Clavin
used to go.
Cheers.
Cliff Comics and Cards.
John would go to this guy's store and he would get these comic books, and the guy would reek of booze. So
Pretty much.
it's not, surprising.
But he would say, I'd say, hey, is issue number whatever in yet? And they're like, no, we're still waiting for Diamond. So I'm familiar with the name from a long time ago, Diamond Distributors. They've kind of cornered the market on comic distribution for a lot of years. And then I'm sure if someone's watching that knows more than we do, which is probably a lot of people, but during COVID, they slowed down a lot. And then a lot of these comic book shops, like local comic book shops, were not getting their issues in. And, if you don't get your comic books in, you're going to have upset customers. And, they don't have product and you can't pay your bills, right? So what happened was Marvel was like, hey, what are you doing? DC, I think DC started it first. DC was like, hey, what are you doing? We got to get our comics out to the local comic shops. And, they're like, well, we can't do anything. It's COVID, like just about everybody else did. Mm-hmm. So they started a new supply chain, and DC started using somebody else. I cannot remember what the name of the company was, but they started using somebody else. Marvel started using somebody else. And then other comic book companies like Image and stuff like that started saying, hey, maybe Diamond isn't the only one in the game. So they started, all these different comic book companies started using different distributors, and Diamond was like, whoa. We're just kidding. We're kidding. We're coming back. So, but then it was too late. They lost Marvel and DC. I mean, those are the two flagship comic book companies in the world. So, yeah, I think that started this whole thing.
They own like AFA?
Yeah. They own several rating companies.
CGA, AFA.
I mean, if I had stuff at AFA and I found out that they filed Chapter 11, I'd be petrified.
Yeah. Well, they also own Hake's Auction. And right now, Hake's Auction is auctioning off a milestone collection. Mm-hmm. And we did an episode on it last week.
That's
Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. Yeah, Jeff Jacobs.
It's the Mark Jacobson collection.
Mark Jacobson. The Hank Jessopson.
The John Johnson collection.
Yeah, they're doing that right now. And all of his stuff or most of his stuff is AFA?
I think all of it is.
I think all of it is
AFA. Yeah.
Because, AFA until 10 years ago was about the only game in town. Mm-hmm. 10, maybe 12 years ago was the only game in town.
They're obviously doing something wrong if they're filing Chapter 11, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's my question is if they've done this more than once already, like I don't understand why a company, like, you obviously have to worry if, it's like a reverse stock split. Like, you don't want to invest in a company that has to have a reverse stock split. It's just
yeah.
So it's like red flags are all around. So I'm just curious. They're doing a restructuring. I guess their business model has not been profitable, or like most of these companies, there's probably somebody taking something from the top and kind of leaving the company to die. Whatever.
Well, it's a family-owned company. The guy that started it, I can't remember his name, Gypsy or something like that, from Baltimore. He had
Gypsy?
It's Giuseppe Diamond.
Something. He started it. He had like 4 comic book shops in Baltimore, and then other little comic book shops were like, hey, where can we get that issue? Or where can we get that series or whatever? And he's like, you know what? I got an idea. And he started this distribution company. He became the largest comic book distributor in the world. And mishandling, I guess. Just mishandling at the corporate level. I don't know. That's the thing. And I've been reading a lot of like Reddit stuff. And of course, can you trust Reddit? But people who... But people said, I worked at the comic book store when they did this back whenever, and then my the store owner went to a different distributor and started getting comics from that distributor. So, I mean, who knows what happened? But we have. Let's see. I'm going to try to do this. I'm not very good at it, but this is from Comic Book Resources, right? Diamond's bankruptcy will make or break the entire comics industry.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is a big deal. People are really sweating it. So they filed for bankruptcy. And they say it's not entirely surprising for Diamond to make such a decision. What's publicly known about both the company and comics industry in the post-pandemic world, but still, it is kind of shocking. Let's see. Is it Diamond? Are they going out of business? Here we go. Chapter 11 bankruptcy will allow the distributor to reorganize its finances. So they're selling a bunch of assets. Jeppy Family Enterprises.
Wow.
Let's see.
So they sell off a bunch of the subsidiaries just to make that money.
Yeah. So they've already gotten a bid from Universal Distributors for their what is it? One of their games. Is Diamond Comics the devil?
You're blind. You're blowing right through the good stuff there.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
Still, should Diamond not resurface from Chapter 11 in charge of reports? It's 10% of all chapters. Make it through. Wow. Just 10% of all Chapter 11 successfully make it through reorganization?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it forced 2 other distributors to adapt in order to maintain market shares. So that, I mean, they've done this since 1982. So they've got an idea of how to distribute everything. And now we've got these other companies that want to do it because now there's a need for it. But are they going to be able to keep up with the mass distribution that Diamond was able to keep up with?
How many people are actually still buying comic books though?
A lot.
Really?
Comic books are now more popular than they were like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There's a resurgence in comic books. Oh yeah, Comic-Con. It's the biggest convention in the.
Yeah, but it's not about comics at Comic-Con anymore.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, it's like there are still tons of comic book collectors.
Is Diamond Comics the devil? I don't
know. Maybe. Let's see. It would devastate the release of small press books. So that's the other thing, like independent comics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be harder for them to distribute because Diamond was like, "Yeah, we'll distribute it."
Yeah.
But like it says right here, indie stalwarts like Image, Dark Horse, Oni, and Boom will have their own distribution, right? Image used to be an independent comic publisher, and Dark Horse used to be an independent comic publisher, but then DC bought Dark Horse, and that the only way they were, just think of like Eastman and Laird, right? They're the ones who did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Diamond distributed their comic. If they didn't, we'd never know what.
Mm-hmm.
We'd never know who the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were. And the same thing with The Walking Dead. I think Walking Dead was. I can't remember who published that. Was it Boom that published it? I can't remember.
No.
Let's see. I don't want to touch my screen because it's going to see. Real-time searching here. Who published? Let's see. Walking Dead publisher. Oh, it was Image. Image did it. Yeah, it was Image. So like smaller presses like Band of Bards, Blood Moon Comics, Black Box, Antarctic Press, and more. That's where people, like it says right there, first comic book creators first break into the industry in small through small presses.
Mm-hmm.
But so this is that's it.
Is that Jeff Jacobs?
Huh?
Maybe
No.
it could. More like it could be like the early one Diamond took over. Just
Yeah. So these are just comments from yesterday. A couple of the comments. Let's see. Diamond Comics, and who do they own? Let's see. Where is the? I saw something earlier.
Well, they own AFA, which is
They own AFA, and I'm trying to figure out how to get this onto our screen. Let's see.
it's
Share
huge
screen.
for anyone who's grading a figure or whatever.
Mhm.
You're gonna send your stuff into a company that's filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, we got to be careful about saying that because AFA is not filing bankruptcy. Their
No.
owner is filing bankruptcy, but
Yeah.
it could be something that is bought from, I mean, who knows? CAS may buy them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're on the block to be purchased by somebody else. They're restructuring for money, and they would put up other things for sale. And
I mean, if CAS somehow they bought AFA and they merged into one, that would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
Crazy. They could charge $149 each loose figure, and you have no choice.
Yeah. And I think that was the problem with Diamond Distributors is because they were like this, they became this huge conglomerate, and then they became like almost a monopoly of the publishing of the distribution thing. And they kind of just sat back and were like, I ain't worried about it. Everything will be all right. And then DC said, oh yeah, we need to stand on business because I'm about to make some changes because we got to get our comic books out there. And you're just sitting there doing nothing. So.
Yeah. Well, obviously, their business model wasn't that good. filing for bankruptcy. So
yeah, I mean, but 42 years is a pretty good run. 42 years is a pretty good run.
Yeah, but if you're not innovating and you're not, with times and stuff like that, I mean, look at Toys R Us.
That's the problem. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
If Toys R Us had, I bet if Toys R Us had led the way for online toy sales instead of saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're brick and mortar. We've always been a brick and mortar. We'll always be a brick and mortar. I think if they had led the way, they probably would still be in business and still have brick and mortar stores.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one place to blame: Amazon.
That's
it.
Thanks, Jeff Bezos. But
he's coming on next week, right?
Yeah, we got him on next week to talk about resale of comic books and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
So Charles, what do you think? You graded a lot of figures in your time. What do you think this is going to do to the market there? What are your predictions?
I don't know. It's too hard to. They are gonna obviously stay in business and everything. It's just, do you want to send your stuff into some place that is filing for restructuring? I don't know. It's kind of like, are they going to cut corners somewhere or rush stuff out
I mean, who's going to, if it's up for sale, who's going to buy them and what kind of ownership is going to be picking them up?
Yeah.
I'm assuming CAS would not buy them because I don't know. Why would you buy them? They would buy them so they can shut them down because they're not going to use the AFA name.
Yeah.
So
what? Let's say somebody buys them and shuts them down. What would that do to the AFA graded items?
I think no one would. I don't think anyone would want them.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. They've already been graded.
Yeah.
And then AFA was like the premier grading company, but then the company that owns them files bankruptcy that gives them a stain, and now people are like, AFA sucks, I don't want an AFA, but it's the same figure. It's already been graded.
It's like buying a Saturn, right? Like when Saturn was going out of business, like who was lining up to buy their car, like
yeah,
and it has different bankruptcy and all that, but still I think does not allow for people to sleep well at night knowing that you have your items there, or that you're sending your items there with just the question of maybe next week somebody buys them and then shuts them down.
Well, yeah.
Or buys them and does something crazy and they
Rename
restructure everybody. Usually when a takeover happens, usually they fire everybody underneath. That's, they're just trying to clean house and restructure the staff and all that. And they bring in their own people. At least in my experience, when I've known several people that have worked for certain companies, and a new company comes in and buys them out, usually they end up getting rid of a bunch of the employees that were there. I mean, look at what happened with Twitter, right? With Elon or whatever, he ends up, he schwack like 60% of the workforce, so I can only imagine, like, if somebody were to buy them, what would happen to the people there? I mean,
someone may buy them and rename the company, like, whatever, I don't know,
UKG,
ABC.
What's the name of that company that's grading figures now that they look like crap? What's the name of them? Like
Garage Grading Authority or whatever, GGA.
Yeah, it was like GGA or something.
Whoever buys them, if they rename that company, all the AFA figures, if you own them, are kind of, I wouldn't say worthless, but they're worth less.
Yeah,
I would say. And the guy, whoever owns CAS, I have no idea who owns it, but whoever owns it, if he's walking out of his house right now with, like a denim coat or whatever, he is going to be walking out with a fur coat, like live like foxes are going to be killed, and he's going to be wearing them. Like, he's going to have fur coat. He's going to be rich.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Does it devalue the figures though? I mean, because think about Kenner. Kenner went bankrupt.
So I was always nervous with CAS. I was nervous that, like, one day maybe they would close down. So if, like, you have all CAS figures and whatever reason they close down or they go bankrupt or whatever, are they worth anything? Like, it's not even a company anymore. Like, who cares that they graded it?
I mean, I know we're not talking in cars here, but DeLorean that went out of business, and they filed for bankruptcy, and their cars were worthless until Back to the Future picked them up. If it wasn't for Back to the Future, I think their cars would still be worthless.
Yeah, you brought up Saturn, like,
yeah.
I remember when Saturn like was like shutting down, like not selling cars or whatever. Like, I saw Saturns for sale, and I'm like, I just can't buy one, like, because they're going out of business. Like, there's not going to be any more. It's kind of like,
how are you going to buy parts for it?
We're not saying that AFA is going to go out of business by any stretch. Right. I imagine
we have no idea. We have no idea.
You have no, you have no idea, and B, you don't know who's going to buy them, or if they're even up for sale. Or I'm assuming they're going to be up for sale, but because they're small when it comes to the bigger things like Diamond, like Distributors, like, they don't really care about grading action figures. So
right.
I can only imagine that they'd be up for sale. Somebody would buy them. But the thing that, would haunt me would be like, well, what's the new ownership going to do? Are they going to continue? Usually not, because if the business model's broken to begin with, they're probably going to clean house and start over again with their own people and try to make things more profitable. So, I don't know. Time will tell. Like Charles said, I'd be a little nervous sending my stuff there, knowing that there might be a chance that they do things different, or they might not be around anymore, or whatever. If I have my stuff there, I'd be nervous right now because you don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure everything will be fine, but I'm sure those people will get their items back or whatever. But I don't know, man. Like, I know a buddy of mine sent his watch into Breitling to get a new battery installed, and they wanted to charge him $700 to install a battery. And he's like, I'm not paying $700 to install a battery, dude. Sorry. Can I have my watch back? It took them 3 months to send him his watch back. And this is Breitling. So, and he was sweating that, dude, I haven't seen my watch. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And finally, 3 months later, he got his watch back. And it's just like, Jesus. So if you have your stuff there and you're like, I don't want, please send it back, I'm sure they'll do it, but.
Well, Kenner went out of business, right? But their figures are still valued. I mean, they're probably the most treasured figure creators in the history of toys.
Some the Star Wars, yes. Other toy lines,
No?
yes.
Superpowers,
Superpowers.
Beetlejuice.
And then you get into some of the other ones in Waterworld.
But I mean, like, who's the other? Hasbro does G.I. Joe. And then what's
Yeah. Was it
Waterworld.
Waterworld and Robin
I
Hood?
love
Robin
that
Hood.
movie.
Those toys are worthless.
I love Waterworld. It was an awesome movie.
It's not so much Kenner, it's the toy. It's the toy that they were making for that specific movie or TV
Right.
show that is what's worth money. It's not the fact that it was Kenner.
Right. So,
Yeah.
does it really matter what it's what they're grading and what they did grade when they, I don't know. I just don't see the AFA depreciating because they're out of business.
I don't know. I just,
If a company says,
John, it's not a toy company. It's a grading company. It's a little
yeah,
Yeah, I understand that.
if the company says this figure is a 90 grade and then they're bankrupt, like,
But they're
just
they're not bankrupt.
I just think that let's say, for instance, somebody buys them and shuts them down, right?
Mhm.
I have a feeling that they will not be worth as much as people because they will not be. They're just not around anymore. They'll be forgotten in a few years. They'll be in people's collections, and they'll be like, "What's AFA?" The new collectors will be, "What's AFA?" I've never heard of them. Oh, they're a grading company that used to be around. I'm like, well, I don't want a grading company that's used to be around because to me, those grades are worthless.
Yeah.
I want a grading company that still has a population and still going, and I can go, oh, okay, compared to these, because why do you want a company that doesn't exist anymore?
Well, think about
You know what I
this.
mean?
Who is the other comic grading company?
CGC, CGA.
That's the only one, right?
There's only one. Okay.
Is that the only one? I don't know. I haven't graded any comics.
Hold on,
But-
I got a piece of crap right here. Let me see.
Yeah.
I've used CGC.
Oh wait.
That's
Oh
it.
wait. Here's a piece of garbage.
You still have that comic?
Well, yeah, because I was using it tonight as to hold my plate in line. I was using it to eat my food.
Yeah.
Of course, I still have
So
it.
it's CGA, right?
When I sell stuff and I cut my boxes and I'm doing my thing, like I use this as a cutting board.
Do you dice your tomatoes on it?
Thanks, John Rula. CGC 9.8. CGC.
So don't
Universal
they own
grade.
CGC as well?
Yeah. CGC collectible grading comics.
Company.
Oh no, certified. It stands for Certified Guarantee Company.
Okay. Do they not own CGC?
I think
Diamond?
they do.
So what happens to like the Hulk 181 that's graded by CGC? I mean, it's still graded. It's still something that's graded. Is there another comic book grading authority out there? I don't know.
No idea.
I'm sure there has to be. They can't be the only ones. Who's slabbing comics nowadays? It's only them, right?
I think so. CGC.
I'm curious now.
Yeah. Because so what does it do to that value? What does it do to the value of, was it Amazing Fantasy number 15? The first
CBCS.
never heard of them.
Here, the 6 best comic book grading and slabbing companies. CGC. Come on, can you just give me a list? I hate this. Quality Comics. Quality Comics is a comic book store and certification company based in John's backyard, Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay, yeah. I don't trust them.
A certified guarantee company, which is CGC, which is certified guarantee you they won't be certifying anymore. Heritage Comics. Nope, sorry. Wrong. Professional Grading Experts, PGX. Expert Grading Services, EGS.
Never heard of any of those.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Comic Connect.
So there's only
We'll
one.
grade you- Comic Connect will grade your comic.
Yeah.
A bunch of these fraudulent companies will take your expensive comic in and grade it.
Yeah.
So there's only one. That's it.
So CGC has established themselves as the authority on grading comics. So
They're the only ones that I
they're
see
gonna
at all the
devalue their
shows.
comics? You what?
That's the only one I see at all their shows.
They're the only one you see on eBay with
No,
flags.
so that's different though. That's different because there's no legitimate competitor. Now you have CAS, who's a legitimate competitor.
Well, okay.
If
I see
CGC was
your
the only
argument.
show in town,
That's
then
one thing.
maybe. I don't know.
Well, you are right though. Toy collectors are arrogant, and arrogance will win. So
I can only see this. Someone's like, I have an AFA 85 plus Boba Fett. Look at this. Look how cool this is. Let's say next year they get restructured, they shut down, right? The year after that, this guy's going to be like, I have an AFA 85 plus Boba Fett. And some kid's going to go and buy and be like, I've never even heard of AFA. I'm not paying $560 for a company that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Because the grade, to me, is no longer valid.
Yeah, it's worthless.
Yeah.
It's a Saturn.
So you think everybody's going to start, unloading all of their AFA stuff?
I don't know. I don't think
Not
so.
until they finalize what's
Honestly, I think everybody's panicking. I think that they're going to be fine. They'll probably get bought by somebody and they'll be fine. But in my honest opinion, I think that they might have some changes coming their way. Yeah, because every company that gets bought out does. But I don't know if I'd be too worried. I would be a little worried in the, we're in purgatory right now, because they're getting bought out, but what does that mean? And people are kind of like freaking out,
Yeah.
Am I going to get my stuff back? Is my stuff going to get graded? Or is my grade going to be worth anything? Like, are they going to steal all my blasters for my expensive figures? Because that hasn't happened before. But
right.
I don't know. I think it's just a little, the uncertainty, I think, is what will cause people to panic a little bit. But I still think we're months away before somebody buys and makes changes, or if they even get bought out. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean,
it's just not good.
The thing is, someone's going to see the value in it, right? Universal Distributors obviously found Alliance Games valuable, so they've already put in a bid for Alliance Games, right? So even if they lose their assets, or they have to sell their assets, somebody with deep pockets is going to find it. It's just going to buy them. It's just a matter of what will the result of that purchase be? What are the intentions of the new owner? Who knows? Maybe David Shawn's going to buy him.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not going to buy a company and continue with the same business model when the company's failing.
No, that's true. That's true.
There's a reason why they're filing this.
No.
So
yeah.
But anyway, that's the news. That is some interesting stuff, and it, like Comic Book Resources said, this could change the comic book landscape. It could. I mean, they already have changed some things, with the distribution model. But
somebody
very
might come in and be like, I'm not going to waste my time distributing these smaller names anymore. Yeah. It's a waste of money to do that or something,
Yeah, and that's going to hurt a lot of artists and a lot of storytellers who depend on distribution from Diamond. But I guess Diamond is like the what is that? Bloomhouse of comic books.
Mhm.
You know, Bloomhouse is like, hey, I want to make this movie. It's really gory. Like, yeah, okay, we'll make it. And they just kind of like throw spaghetti to the wall and see what sticks. But they like make all the spaghetti. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Bloomhouse makes tons of movies. They make up like a movie a week. And then every once in a while, one's a big hit and it covers the expenses for the other movies. But anyway, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, you know, the worst case scenario some people are talking about is they're gonna see some supply chain shortages, some supply chain delays and stuff like that down, you know, sooner rather than later down the road, because of this. But I guess Diamond Select Toys, I don't know. Maybe McFarlane will buy them. Who knows? I haven't heard
I can't
anything
believe he
about
doesn't.
that.
That's who I first thought would purchase something like that, would be McFarlane and just make it his own. You know?
Yeah, he might. You never know. He's making enough money right now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how this goes. And Diamond Select has some really nice figures. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any Diamond Select figures, but they're really, really cool. So, any other comments on Diamond going belly up? Of course, they're not belly up. Restructuring and like 10%. What was it? 10%, Brandon?
Yeah.
10% success rate.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they've done it before, so we'll see.
I'm just saying what that article said. I was kind of shocking to see that only 10% of companies make it out of that. But
yeah, well, Diamond's done it before, so I don't know.
Yeesh.
Second time's the charm. But yeah, it's just kind of weird to me because I collected comic books when I was a kid, and I remember anything about comics, it was always through Diamond. You know, Diamond Distributors was always talked about. So it's just strange to me to see the this happening where they're, you know, filing for bankruptcy for restructuring. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
It's the end of an era. If it, you know, I mean, didn't Mile High Comics close recently? Anybody familiar with Mile High Comics in Denver?
No.
Brandon?
Mile High Comics in Denver, like the store, like the comic shop.
Yeah. Didn't they close recently?
I don't know.
Or sell or something? Anyway, it's just weird. You know, it's the end of an era. And all things change. Everything's got to move on. So,
I mean, you have to sell a butt ton of comics in order to keep a brick and mortar store open.
Yeah, is Midtown Comics still open? Do you know, Charles? In Manhattan? Midtown?
Haven't been to Manhattan in about 30 years.
There's a Golden Apple Comics that a lot of stars go to apparently in New York, right?
Never heard of it. No idea.
I don't know. I think there was like a big name in New York or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't really go to comic shops unless they have toys. If there's no toys, I don't go in.
Yeah.
True.
But one quick note about Cliff's Comics. A buddy of mine worked there when we were in high school. And I used to go in all the time. And in one of I don't know, Charles, have you ever collect comics? Did you ever collect comics?
I did, yeah.
So when you go into the comic book store, you know, there's long boxes and then there's wall.
Yeah.
Right. In the long boxes, he had Hulk 180 and Hulk 181 when I was in high school. In the long box. For like
those were like the
back issues.
Yeah.
You know, stuff that had been out for a minute. And he had it on a little white sticker, 180, first appearance of Hulk. And I mean, first appearance of Wolverine. And then 181, first full appearance of Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Like a little white sticker. I think they were like $30 or $40 a piece.
Damn.
I
Back in 1960, that's a lot.
like 86 and 87. But it's like now I just have these memories and I'm like, man, I wish I could go back and then just, mow about 3 or 4 lawns and get enough money for
How much are those worth now?
thousands.
Really?
Thousands. Yeah. Especially CGC graded ones.
Oh. What's funny is I did find a the other day at the flea market, I did find a Secret Wars number 8
Oh,
in a
the
box.
first symbiote suit.
Yeah. A buddy of mine I was with was like, I've been looking for this forever. And I said, well, let's look in this box. And he's like, oh, it's in here. I was like, no way. And he pulled it out. I was like, oh. Yeah, not bad for $5.
Yeah, that is not bad at all.
Yeah.
That's the first black suit Spider-Man, Charles.
Mm.
He's like, I don't care.
I used to do the same thing. I used to go to a comic book shop when I was in middle school and high school, and that's what I collected those back in the 90s, and same thing. You walk in, the long boxes, the stuff on the wall was like the new stuff, and then the stuff in the glass counter was like the really good stuff,
yeah.
And it was like, oh, Spider-Man 300 and all that. Like, oh, this, I remember him saying, the guy that used to own the shop, like, oh, this is going to be worth a lot of money one day. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I might have a couple issues thrown in a box somewhere, but I don't remember buying Hulk 180 and 181. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
And back then they were probably a couple $100 each in the 90s, so.
By then, I think, because, Wolverine was just starting to gain ground.
Yeah.
In like the late 80s, 86,
well,
87.
Back when I did comics, Wolverine had his own action figure. So he was already, the gig was up at that point.
Yeah. He was already, he was beginning to gain ground. So, anyway, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I guess that's going to do it for this episode. And hopefully on our next episode, we're going to have a live next week. January the 26th is going to be our first live in 7 months.
Yeah. Long time.
It's like, what? Do we count the ICC as a live event?
No.
When was our last live? June?
A long time.
I think it was the last time Shane.
It was a long time
Shane
ago.
was actually on.
It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
It was the last time Shane was on.
So yeah, join us for our first live in months.
So in the comments, we're curious as to what you guys think is going to happen with this Chapter 11 bankruptcy of Diamond. So if you can, just comment below and let us know what you think. What are you okay with it? Are you against it? Are you, not that you can change any of that, but what are you afraid of? Are you afraid at all? Is everything going to be okay?
What is your speculation?
Speculate. All speculations, please.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll see you guys again Wednesday night for our wins and whiffs of the week. And then next week, remember, we have a live January 26th. Can you believe January is almost over already?
I hope whoever said that Shane reminds me that Shane is the C3PO of the group. I hope whoever said that logs into the live, because that was the comment of the year so far for 2025. Thank you for whoever said that.
Yes, very much so. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. Everybody have a good evening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. Tell us what you think of Diamond Distributors filing Chapter 11. And what do you think, like Brandon said, what do you think is going to happen, if anything? And please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/5idiotstalkingtoys. And we'll see you guys live next week. And Wednesday, we'll see you at Wins and Whiffs.
All right.
So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.